proudly presented by Coca-Cola Classic, always Coca-Cola. By ITT Sheraton, the official hotel of the U.S. World Cup team. By Budweiser, proud to be your bud. By Canon, a proud sponsor of the U.S. World Cup team. By Snickers Bar, packed with peanuts, Snickers really satisfies. By Bounty, the quicker, thicker picker-upper. By Toys R Us, the world's biggest toy store. And by American Airlines, something special in the air. This is the LA Coliseum, home to the NFL, home to college football, and it is also home to international football, or soccer as we call it, and that's what we are here for today, soccer between El Salvador and the United States. Welcome everyone to Los Angeles, along with Ty Keogh. I'm John Paul Della Camera. The last time we brought you a World Series of soccer telecast, it was the USA versus Ukraine. El Salvador, Ty, will play a different style than the Ukraine.
Well, I like the chances for the United States today because when you think about it, the last time they faced a Latin American or Central American style of play, which was against Mexico this past October 13th, they had what was probably their best performance since the U.S. Cup.
This is not a bunch of household names that you're going to see in terms of El Salvador, but I know you saw them practice yesterday. What are they like? What can we expect?
El Salvador, as usual for a Central American team, will have a lot of short passing. They also have a very young team. Many of these players are still with their under-21 squad. They have brought in 5 veterans, including their goalkeeper, Chavez. So it's a good mix, but again, I think it looks good for the United States because it is a very young El Salvador team.
And the story within the game today, Hugo Perez of the United States goes up against his native team, El Salvador. Stick with us. We'll be back and bring you the starting lineups for both sides when we continue from Los Angeles. Welcome back, everyone, to Los Angeles, getting ready for the El Salvador versus USA matchup. USA has done very well against El Salvador. More on that later. First, we'll check out the El Salvador lineup, and their only real experience, Ty, comes in goal with Chavez.
By far, Chavez is 33 years old. No one even close to that. Number 3, Mayen, will be the sweeper for them in defense. He is also one of the older statesmen here at 26 years of age, and Carlos Hoya will attack a lot down the right side. Looking to the midfield, the main guys are Borja, number 8, who will wear the captain's band, and number 10, Gato Rodriguez, very smooth player. Very young guys up top, Navarrete and Cerritos.
Now for the USA, Tony Meola with his 75th cap today will go past Balboa, assuming he doesn't play, but more on that later.
And in the U.S. defense, the difference here, Dooley now will be sweeping rather than what has been his customary defensive role, but that won't stop his irrepressible spark of going forward. You'll see that for sure out of him. And in the U.S. midfield, that brings in Dominic Kinnear, who's currently the leading scorer for the U.S. team with 5 goals. He's been interjected there. Look for the speed of Kobe Jones, number 13, down the right side. He will almost become a forward because he's such a threat. Hugo Perez and Joe Max Moore will be trying to combine as the twin target players for the United States.
Well, for the United States, they've done very well, to say the least, against El Salvador. 6 wins, only 1 loss, and 6 draws. So in the 13 meetings, they've lost only 1 time to El Salvador, and we may, carefully phrase that word, may see Marcelo Balboa back in a U.S. lineup today, perhaps as a sub, maybe later in the second half. He's been cleared by the doctors to play at least 45 minutes. The kickoff is next.
You will receive...
We're back at the LA Memorial Coliseum with Ty Keogh. I'm John Paul Della Camera. The USA getting set to face El Salvador. At the close of the break, I should have said Marcelo Balboa has been cleared to play a maximum, not an at least or a minimum of 45 minutes, max 45 minutes. We may see him later today. USA in predominant white with red and blue trim. El Salvador mainly in blue with white trim. And here they come on the left wing side. Lost on that left sideline by Jorge Rodriguez, number 10. But they get it right back. It's a very young team. 11 of 17 from the under 21 El Salvadorian team. Cerritos giving it up to Rodriguez. Cerritos, number 7 in blue for El Salvador, tackled away. U.S. getting it back. Blocked off the Kobe Jones attempt. And this one goes out of play. Ty, with the refurbishing here, we should point out that there's very tight spaces in those corners.
Well, there's no longer a track around the field here at the Coliseum as we look at Bora Milutinovic, the USA coach. Normally he would have been sitting on the track, which was here from the 32 and 84 Olympics. That's been eliminated. They've added more seating, which you'll be able to see, but it is the walls have been brought in. There's not much space on the flanks and the corners.
Knocked away by Joe Max Moore, and he had Henderson almost in the clear. Taken away now at the back by El Salvador. USA coming in off of an 8-1 blitz over the Cayman Islands and then a 1-0 win prior to that against Jamaica. Neither one of those teams, although the score with Jamaica was a lot closer than the U.S. wanted, certainly the Cayman Islands gave them no problems.
We just looked at Jeff Agus. He may have his hands full out there on the U.S. team's left flank because he's matched up against the number 5 there, Hector Lopez. Very tricky and very quick. And we saw that probing pass out of number 8, Borja, nearly break through down that side.
Throw in on the opposite side. There's that all-time record we spoke about before. The USA has really dominated. They've owned El Salvador, and this counts World Cup qualifiers, Olympic qualifiers, and international friendlies like this one is today. Mike Sorber out of St. Louis, playing it to the back. Lapper, who leads this team now in minutes played, will give it up. There's Hugo Perez, number 7.
He's dropped back very deeply to collect the ball. Remember, he's slated as a front runner in today's game, Perez, but he's dropped deep into midfield already.
Ty's had great success against his former country, scoring 3 goals against them.
Well, definitely some inspired performances by Hugo Perez when playing against El Salvador, and important goals too, because those were either Olympic qualifiers or World Cup qualifiers that were essential for the United States to go forward in those competitions.
We're scoreless here in the opening minutes of play. The scoreboard clock, though, is not cooperating, so we're not sure at this point how much time is left. We can check, though, get it for you.
2 minutes 39 gone.
We're about 2:40 in right now. Throw in on this near sideline. This is as deep as the U.S. has gotten. Perez will leave it off for Lallis, who has scored 4 goals this year via the header, all 4. Sets up for the throw, settled. Sorber leaves it for Lallis. There's the long cross, far side, headed once and then cleared out by El Salvador. Agus knocking it back off the left footer. Lallis chasing to the corner, but he will run out of room. There'll be a goal kick coming up for Chavez.
And looking at Hugo Perez here, he's playing as a front runner along with Joe Max Moore, and that's really not their positions if you think about it. The United States at this time, their best striking players playing in the leagues in Europe, and for now it's makeshift along those lines as far as who can really play up on the point. And Perez can do it because he can hold the ball and he's a good finisher. And Joe Max Moore's got some good speed and makes good runs, but he's not accustomed to being up the field that far.
There's Lallis. Played collegiately at Rutgers, back for Lapper, and he'll play it back towards Tony Meola. We said during the starting lineups, Thomas Dooley is sweeping. The reason for that, Desmond Armstrong was cleared to go to Chicago for meetings involving the professional league. So this is the first time in 12 internationals that Armstrong not only has not started, but has played in every minute. So he could be missed back there, although when you put Dooley back there.
Dooley's very experienced. In fact, in that position, he's played quite a lot in the Bundesliga in the German first division. So he's comfortable there. He just hasn't played it much for this team.
El Salvador trying to get it back, and they do right at the midfield line. Played back to Prado. Lallis taking it on the near side. Should point out for those of you that will notice this, it's the farthest, widest lines that are the end lines that we're going by. You'll see some rough sod area where they've redone the field. Right out in front, probably where the NFL benches are when the Raiders play.
Well, one way of putting it, a football field is approximately 55 yards wide. A soccer field should be 70 or 75. So you're looking at approximately an extra 10 yards on either side here.
There's Thomas Dooley, the 1993 U.S. Male Soccer Athlete of the Year. Christine Lilly, we congratulate as well for winning it on the women's side. Great year for both of those players, as this one is cleared. It goes out of play. U.S. will get it. There's Jeff Agus. Jeff will be happy. He played at Virginia. They won again, third straight time, right, for the NCAA Division I championship.
They haven't missed a beat since he left. They may have missed his left foot because he has a wonderful left foot and serving accurate balls. But yes, another NCAA Division I championship for the University of Virginia and their coach Bruce Arena.
Tony Meola also having gone to that school. Oh, what a dangerous ball that was, but it gets free to Lallis.
Claudio Reyna, of course, performing very important tasks in midfield for the University of Virginia. Claudio Reyna has starred for the U.S. Olympic selection, and there's much talk that he may be brought in to the U.S. World Cup team. He has that much talent.
Last foul was called on Penate. He had some words with the referee. He may have talked himself out of a card. By the way, the referee for today is Carlos Javier Castellanos. He is from Mexico. George Nujan from the United States. George Savage, also from the U.S., working as linesman. The fourth official, Arturo Angeles, also
Number 8, who we saw a moment ago from El Salvador, Carlos Castro Borja, has been playing in the Austrian second division. And if El Salvador here today is able to create much out of midfield, it will come from him, number 8, as well as number 10, Jorge Gato the Cat Rodriguez. They are very creative playmakers out of the midfield. So number 8 and number 10 for El Salvador.
Borja got the biggest ovation when he was introduced, so some of the fans here know him. That one could have been done better. Penate just knocked it out of play. Some miscommunication between he and Rodriguez.
Aside from the hair, he also has some flair on the ball. This guy can make the unexpected move. He has great vision and long passing ability to open up the game. So a player to watch for certain, number 8, Borja for El Salvador.
Is the El Salvadorian bench. Their coach, Dr. Jose Ricardo Tenorio. El Salvador back in their own end. They'll play it back to the keeper, Chavez, the 33-year-old. Played dangerously with it. U.S. putting some pressure on deep. Forced free by Henderson. And he may get a corner out of it. Nope. Referee's going to say goal kick. Henderson thought it was knocked out by a defender. Good pressure, though, by the U.S.
And pressure can be effective against a Central American style. They're trying to just hold the ball, knock it close, especially since they're the visiting team. They're trying to take a little bit of the air out of the game. If you can push forward and then disrupt that, you can create immediate opportunities on their goal.
And pressure as well against a younger team, which they are younger than the U.S. Left side, Agus getting a difficult ball from Meola. Up for Perez. Hugo Perez will bring it right back. All the way back towards goal. Cut off and played wide to Alexi Lallis, who's become a fixture now in the USA starting lineup. A very solid U.S. Cup 93 certainly aided his chances.
Well, and you also mentioned that he can be a threat coming forward on set pieces with his tremendous ability in the air. We see Thomas Dooley appears to be slowed up. May have taken a hit. He's trying to shake it off, which is why the U.S. deliberately put the ball out of bounds to check his status.
El Salvador throwing it in, and they were giving it back up. Good sportsmanship. They'll play it back to the United States, and Meola will be able to put it in play with a goal kick coming up. We are scoreless in the opening minutes of play from the LA Memorial Coliseum. It's the USA versus El Salvador.
Notice these prescription spectacle lenses. Indoors, they're a pleasing blush tint. Outdoors, they darken to screen out uncomfy glare and odious UV. Indoors, back to blush, and so on. They're called Transitions Comfort Lenses, and they're made of lightweight plastic, which permits the delightful pun, light makes them dark, plastic makes them light. New Transitions Comfort Lenses.
Transitions Comfort Lenses, proud sponsor of the World Series of Soccer.
Another day begins in Europe. And as it does, American Airlines will touch down in 13 European cities, 9 different countries. So whether it's business or pleasure that brings you to Europe, fly the airline that can have you there as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
We are back to our match between El Salvador and the United States, still in the first half of play. There's a discrepancy in the clock we just showed you on the screen and the one that they're flashing up here in the LA Coliseum. They're off by about 6 minutes, so we'll go by our television one, which says 9+ minutes, so we're about 10 minutes in now in this first half of play. Neither team has really had a good crack at goal just yet. The linesman on that far side seemed to indicate that that ball went out of play.
El Salvador has given the United States time to keep the ball in their own half and work it out, playing more of an offensive and then counterattacking style, I would assume, because they know they're outgunned in terms of experience, as we mentioned. So many players on this El Salvador team from their under-21 squad really getting their first chances as full international players.
This is what you get with the team that is not qualified for the World Cup. Here's Lalas coming in with a header. Very strong on that.
There's the danger by Lalas. He can win just about anything that's put up high in that box.
On the far side, Henderson in a struggle. He's knocked out a play. The referee getting over for a closer look. He's going to give the ball to El Salvador. I was saying before, El Salvador did not qualify this year. It's the U.S. and Mexico from CONCACAF. So you'll get the young players coming in to work for future World Cups and Olympics, etc.
There was Borja doing a little bit of his magic at midfield.
Viola way out of his goal box area, sending it long. Cleared right back by Mayen. Lalas heading it the other way. Back towards Miola. He can use his hands there because it was played back not by the feet of a teammate.
And speaking of magic, the all-time great El Salvador player, El Mago, the magician, Gonzalez, who played in the '82 World Cup. El Salvador had qualified in the '70 World Cup and the '82 World Cup. And this is the type of team the U.S. could face in an early round game in the World Cup. But El Mago played so well in the '82 World Cup in Spain that he stayed there and had a very illustrious career playing in the Spanish First Division. He's now 36 years of age and no longer a part of the national team's plans, but still playing in the First Division in El Salvador.
Mayen was the guy that upset Joe Max Moore, who's had one heck of a year. He's got 4 goals this year. And another one if you count some club games he's played. And if you count all the club games, the 2 other ones, it'd be their leading scorer for 1993. Dominic Kinnear with 5 international goals. It's knocked in. Lalas with a quick flick. He did a nice job to even get that one on goal. Looking more confident and relaxed, but that's what 4 goals can do for you, and a regular place in the lineup too.
Getting those minutes makes all the difference. The guys around you now know how to operate with you. I heard earlier just a little bit of a yell from Lapper saying, Lexi, you've got time. It's just all those kind of things take a while to develop. Here's the ball by Kinnear. It's cleared barely. Now it's flicked on by Jones. And look at the quick little twist by Lalas to try and get it on goal.
Back live as Henderson played it through. He was looking for some support. Looked like Kinnear was the closest man to it. Mike Sorber out of St. Louis University, joining Mark Santel, who's been training of late with the U.S. team and is here today, also a product of St. Louis U.
Well, as we've seen Perez drop deeper in the midfield, Kinnear's gone forward.
Moore's shot just went wide of goal. So there'll be a goal kick coming up. Chavez will take it. The USA were threatening on the last couple of occasions, but still with nothing to show in the opening half in L.A.
Even if a compact camcorder has macro autofocus, power zoom, shoots in low light, and is easy to use, just make sure its cassettes play on your VHS VCR at home. JVC's compact cassettes play on any VHS VCR.
You ate Nintendo. You drank Nintendo. You slept Nintendo. Now Toys R Us has 2 hot games for Super Nintendo. Capcom's Street Fighter 2 and Nintendo's Mario Paint, where you can draw, paint, and even compose music. Check them out at Toys R Us, the biggest video game store in the world. So you can read Nintendo, love Nintendo, be Nintendo, and Toys R Us.
Even if a compact camcorder has macro autofocus, power zoom, shoots in low light, and is easy to use, just make sure its cassettes play on your VHS VCR at home. JVC's compact cassettes play on any VHS VCR.
Nothing on the scoreboard, but the USA is out shooting El Salvador 3-0 as we approach minute 15 of this first half of play from the LA Memorial Coliseum. With IKEO, I'm John Paul Della Camera. It is El Salvador scrambling back in their own end after this. More pressure by Henderson. He kept it in. Great job on the far side. Pass in front. And it never got there. It's intercepted by El Salvador, but the U.S. looking good when they put high pressure on it deep.
As I was saying just before the break, Perez very definitely has moved into the midfield. Kinnear has moved forward more into his type of spot as a front runner. And I had the report that Perez has a tendonitis in his knee. It may have something to do with it. At midfield, he can pace himself a little bit more rather than up top where he has to be sprinting constantly to get into open spaces.
Kobe Jones on the right side leads this team in terms of games played with 28. This is a guy that a lot of people never heard of before. He had success at UCLA and with the Olympic team, but all of a sudden everybody knows who Kobe Jones is on the national team level.
He was a walk-on at UCLA, out of the same high school, in fact, that Eric Winalda is from.
He's done well in a lot of different roles. He does great coming off the bench, but now they're starting him. He's come off the bench 14 times, which is also a team high. Borja, dangerous pass across the middle. Kobe Jones trying to spin away. He's got great speed with and without the ball. Left side, Agus, number 12 in white for the U.S. Giving it up for Kobe Jones. Not timed well enough for Joe Max Moore. And a foul. Thought on Cerritos. That's what the call is.
Well, this is good, too. Kobe Jones also mixing up his runs, not just hanging wide. He's going up into that space that Perez has cleared by dropping back into his midfield slot. And Jones is ever dangerous. We saw his hustle there. He also has getaway acceleration.
Perez ready. Taking the free kick, sending it inside. Here's a tip. And it looked like off the end of the foot of Thomas Dooley, sneaking up from his sweeper's position. How is that going to change what we should be here? Dooley drops back. He's done so well as a central midfielder. Where will we be lacking?
All it means is he has a little farther to come when he does go forward. But guys like Lapper will still cover for him. Had blown, and then the chance came just after that.
Chavez. U.S. again with a little high pressure, forcing a bad clearance. Jones intercepting. Kinnear laying it right side. Lallis with a cross, missing once in the header. Oh, that was, I thought, Perez.
Borja clearing there with the hitch kick. He's a colorful player. That's just him now going to the counter. But a nice ball earlier by Kinnear to find Lallis on the right side.
Henderson got whacked. Not even a word of caution for
Here's
Hoyer.
the cross by Lallis, and here's the spectacular clearance by Borja. Look at that, the elevation that he gets. And there's the cross coming in from Lallis. He takes it on his chest. He knows that there's danger there, so he wants to get out as early as possible. That's spectacular.
I was watching to see if Perez was going to get cleaned out on that one. He was down on the floor.
But he was still there, which is why Borja needed to get one out in a hurry and give everybody a thrill.
A bouncer on that free kick, and Chavez has little difficulty. But if you're going to have a young team here, it doesn't hurt you to have experience. They've got another 4 years anyway before they need to establish a #1 goalkeeper. So it's not bad if you're going to have experience, somebody there or in a sweeper's position.
Well, the sweeper is Mayen, number 3. He's 26 years of age, so he's one of the older guys here.
Rodriguez's shot is blocked. Several players going after it. Finally, El Salvador slows, and they play it right back inside. No one close enough to it. Miola is right there.
United States do have some speed now on both flanks. Henderson, very fast. We've mentioned Kobe Jones. Joe Max Moore, a lot of mobility up top. He wins the ball there.
Lallis, number 22 for the U.S., giving it up for Joe Max Moore. Kobe Jones, wide side. Agus is wide open. That was good recognition. He had to wait a little long maybe for it, but
Jones saw it, though.
Here's Henderson, all the way across. Lallis, last touched it. Should be a goal kick coming up for Chavez once more, the 33-year-old goalkeeper from El Salvador. Alexi Lallis, to call him the free spirit of the U.S. squad might be the understatement of the year. 20 minutes in. First half of play, scoreless between El Salvador and the United States. The USA did have an edge in the shots on goal. Last time we had checked at 3-0. Moore putting it ahead. Settled. Perez leading it to the right side. Kobe Jones by the corner. He should get a throw-in. Very close towards the corner flag.
Hollis has been taking those throws.
He's coming in again.
I'd rather see Lawless be one of the targets of the throw. Perhaps there's not another U.S. player that can reach him with it.
He's setting up for what appears to be the long throw. Kinnear's over to the near post.
Dooley's not up either.
That's going towards Kinnear, but it was over Dominic and right to the goalkeeper.
You'd like to be able to get Dooley and Lawless right up in front of the keeper, Chavez, and have someone else make the long throw.
Linesman has the flag up. Miola's way out. The linesman did catch it. The referee was right there to acknowledge.
But of course, being sorely missed for the United States, particularly up top, because we've got guys that are not normally up there playing in that position. Eric Nalda, who we've mentioned, Wegerle.
Kobe Jones trying to leave it. Nice back heel. Here's Perez. Cracks it. Oh, it was deflected. Ty, that one was headed towards goal. That deflection may have saved it. Should be a corner kick coming up for the U.S. and a good scoring opportunity here.
And it is the left foot of Hugo Perez. That's where he likes it. He got some power behind it. And you're right, had it not been deflected away by the sweeper Mayen, it would have either been a goal or a really big save.
Dominic Kinnear set for this corner. Watch for Lawless and Dooley here. And watch for Chavez because he just caught up with it instead.
An early shove against one of the U.S. players. Here's Kobe Jones cutting inside. Great stride, getting away from the tackle. Kinnear, nice little flick on. Now look at Perez. He wants to flick it up, and he wants to take it with that full left foot instep. But Moyen, a lot of courage there, putting his head in front of that driven ball. Here's the other angle. Look at Kinnear. He knows that Perez is waiting there. Perez flips it up to really prepare the ball for himself. Look at the swerve on that ball. And it looked like Chavez, the goalkeeper, was going the wrong way, in fact. And then it was headed away at the last possible moment by number 3, Mayen.
I was going to say, you could clearly see in the replay, he's definitely screened no matter what. And Perez's shot looked like it was heading towards his left.
But that's a nice bit of skill by Perez to be able to set the ball for himself so that he takes it on a full volley. That's the type of skill you don't see in too many players.
But he's a third all-time leading goal scorer. That gave you a little taste. He has 12 goals for the U.S. Settled now at the back. El Salvador looking to play it long. In the air, Lapper won it for the moment. Taken away by El Salvador. Into the middle of the field. They gave it up. Prado was number 11. He flicked it to the right side. Shot taken was blocked by Henderson. Towards Kinnear. Borja played it first time. Cerritos. Back it goes to Salazar.
Who could not play it forward because the U.S. had trapped.
Linesman had the flag up. U.S. ball should be anyway on the throw-in as that one was cleared well out of play. Miola going after it. Miola's landed a role in a movie, we're told. It's called Desperate Trail, which I thought was the story of your life, Ty, but I've been corrected. It's a Western, and he's going to play in something like 8 scenes, 15 to 25 lines.
Only since I've been working with you.
I left myself open. Henderson down the left wing side. And referee's pointing at the goalkeeper. So there should be a goal kick coming up. We remain scoreless here at the LA Coliseum. Both teams have shown signs of life, but no goals between El Salvador and the United States.
You can feel it deep inside. Dedication and a real sense of pride. And you're giving it your best. Budweiser. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be a bud.
This is your life. Sprint Express, may I help you?
Sprint is the only global phone company with local, long distance, and cellular. So whether you're calling around the world or around the corner, with Sprint, you can be there now. So whoever said the world doesn't revolve around you, obviously didn't have Sprint.
Welcome back, everyone, to the LA Memorial Coliseum. Along with Ty Keogh, I'm John Paul Della Camera. Still scoreless between the USA in white with red and blue trim and El Salvador in the predominant blue uniforms with white trim. This is Agus, number 12 in white for the U.S., who have outshot El Salvador 5-0 in the first half. And they've looked good, Ty, in using the full length and width of the field.
Actually, there's Henderson on the left.
Chavez looking into a tough sun. That wasn't easy. Good run by Henderson. Thomas Dooley helping out, now rushing back. One thing about Dooley, when he advances forward, he will get back in a hurry.
Even better than that, when he first goes forward, he always seems to be able to find the ball and keep the attack alive and involve himself. Too many times you see a back player get forward and not then be a part of the play, and then he has to sprint back for nothing.
Give him a lot of credit, too. When he first came here, you really couldn't understand him. Spoke in German, no English. And now in the last year, he's really improved. He does a lot of television interviews. Back the other way, Joe Max Moore. Inside the 18, slowing it down. Tried to play it across, and then it was broken up. Taken by El Salvador, Mayan. Intended for Cerritos. Henderson with a knock towards Perez. Sent now by Penate. Neither team now getting control. Finally, it's Kinnear. Right side, Kobe Jones. Lallis making a supporting run on the right. Gets the delivery. Lallis crossing. The header goes wide of the goalkeeper, Chavez. And again, it's out of play. Another goal kick coming up, but the U.S. continues to get the better chances, and they've been territorially more in El Salvador's end of the field than vice versa.
And Kobe Jones has probably made the most things happen for the United States. He's used his change of speeds and his deception to get inside the El Salvador defense a few times, and he's combined well with Lallis. Lallis is breaking down the right side, getting good serves in.
Right side, Kinnear playing it into the middle. Perez, nice spin, got free, found Agus left. Jeff Agus. Now to the far side for Henderson. Chris Henderson from Everett, Washington, playing it in the middle. Kinnear, and Dominic Kinnear has scored the first goal for the U.S. with a header. It's 1-0 after some great passing by the U.S.
What a goal it was for Dominic Kinnear. They always feel better when it's off the head. And a deep cross from Chris Henderson is what set it up. Dominic Kinnear, he is the leading scorer coming into this game for the USA, and that gives him and Chavez barely had a look at it. That's a difficult save.
So give it to Kinnear. He continues to lead the team in scoring as we look again.
There's Henderson. He didn't need to get to the end line. Instead, he finds Kinnear at the back post. Hugo Perez standing right there with him. No defenders for El Salvador. And El Salvador plays essentially without a sweeper. So they've only got two guys right in the central defense, and it may have showed there.
Agus for Kinnear. A hard pass. Henderson handled it well. Did great with it. Kinnear in the middle. He wanted Perez. Loose ball. Perez plays it back. The shot taken right there is the goalkeeper, Chavez. Joe Max Moore getting a piece at it. Almost 30 minutes gone now in the first half. Let's see how the U.S. plays now with this lead.
Looks like they're going to pour on the pressure.
Right side, Joe Max Moore has it knocked away.
Joe Max Moore playing with more and more confidence. Again, more minutes for him, something like Alexi Lallis' situation. Getting more time in there. He's settling into his role.
One of the benefits of having U.S. players in Europe has been that it has opened up playing time and a lot of minutes for a lot of players, and they're trying to make the most of it. Joe Max Moore, one of those in that category, certainly Kinnear. Actually, any player as a forward, because a lot of the U.S. best forwards are playing in Europe. Stewart, Ronaldo, Wegerle. Ball played long, intended for Perez. Cleared out. El Salvador was guilty of some bad passing. Now they're getting it free. Borja. Kinnear in there pressuring, and they're going to call a foul as he was in there on Borja. Scoring summary, you'll see it there. 27th minute of play from Henderson. You could hear Bora Milutinovic, I'm sure, saying pressure, pressure. That's the way I would like to see the U.S. team play when they've got the lead. Go
exactly.
after.
If you've gotten a goal, you've got some momentum, make use of it. Pour it on a little bit. Don't let El Salvador. And it's so critical. The 2 minutes after a goal, both teams seem to be more vulnerable to giving up a goal. And if you can keep the ball in the other team's end, it's more likely to be them.
I've seen it many times. There's Penate on the throw. Near wing side.
Here it comes, coming to 3-3.
And it goes out of play.
It's not 3, it's 5-5. Here's Balboa, and here's his leg.
Marcelo Balboa, the man in the middle there, with the brace that was, from what we were told, cleared by the referee. Had to check it for safety, so we may see him later on today. If we do, it's about an 8-month recovery instead of the normal 9 to 12 months for an anterior cruciate ligament surgery, ACL. All the way back. Joe Max Moore with a flick. Oh, he almost got his man Henderson, who's been working exclusively on the left wing until just now. U.S. with a throw-in. Right side. Kobe Jones.
Great balance.
They're going for the jugular now. Tackled out, corner kick for the U.S. squad, and that word momentum's creeping in.
How about the tackle by the U.S. bench by number 2, Hoya? He came all the way over to crunch Henderson, and he ended up on the U.S. bench.
Perez will take this corner. Trying to clear some space, and believe me, there's not much there. Perez sending it into the middle. The header just too high, but again, another great scoring chance for the United States. Chavez will have a goal kick coming up. We've seen one goal. It was a header from Dominic Kinnear. The U.S. leads 1-0 in Los Angeles.
They don't play kick the can like you used to. They don't dress the same way. They learned to read 3 years before you did. They've never owned a record. So why are you taking pictures of them with the same old film? Try Fujicolor Super G film. Because your pictures should be nostalgic. Your film shouldn't.
We're back in the live action from Los Angeles. The U.S. national team leading El Salvador 1-0. Dominic Kinnear scored the only goal.
Hugo Perez with the in-swinging corner kick. It's Mike Lapper, gets up so well, hammers the ball, but just gets it just over the bar. Another good chance from a set piece for the USA.
Agus in for Lallis, who headed it down right side. Kobe Jones trying to cross it in low. Not a bad idea for Lallis, who is breaking through. U.S. will force another corner.
USA keeping up the pressure. As we look at Lexi Lallis, found to be one of the targets for this set piece.
Perez curling it in with a left footer. Blocked, it's loose inside the 18. A right-footed shot went high and wide. Lapper getting control of that one. They continue to put the pressure on El Salvador. Good work right here for the U.S. squad, including that man, Jeff Agus. Remember, in these games, you can use up to 5 subs, so we may see some changes. You don't want to tamper with success if things are going well, but it's pretty humid down there in the field. You can see by the sweat on the players' jerseys.
And Agus has one of the tougher marking jobs today. He's up against Hector Lopez, who's 28 years old.
Moore coming through, scoring from Hugo Perez. Great pass from Perez, and the U.S. now has a 2-0 lead.
Well, you could see it coming with the type of pressure that the U.S. sustained after the first goal. They wanted to use the momentum from that goal. And the combination work that we've been seeing from Joe Max Moore, from Chris Henderson, from Perez, has been some good stuff. They're running off of each other well, using each other well. Here's Perez Now he's got the ball on his left foot where he likes, and he just lifts it through in behind the El Salvador defense. Joe Max Moore runs onto it, gets it on his right foot, sees where the goalkeeper is, and just lifts it over him into the empty net. So some very cool and calm sort of execution by the United States. There's Henderson into Perez. Perez, the first time ball that catches all the El Salvador defenders going the wrong way. And then Joe Max Moore, a nice little touch, even with some topspin, into the far side of the net with his right foot.
Henderson helped to set up that goal. Perez will get the assist, but Henderson on the goal before it took over the team lead in assists with 5. He had been in a 3-way tie previous. Give Joe Max Moore his 5th goal. That goal coming in the 34th minute, so the goals 7 minutes apart. El Salvador will have a throw-in. And the referee has spotted something from this near sideline. Castellanos. Going to give the ball. I thought he was going to give it to the U.S. Nope. Penate will throw in. Lallis pressuring his man. Trying not to let him go. Here's Kobe Jones. Long distance shot from Borja. Went high and wide of Miola, who's also looking into that strong sun. Great day for soccer. Actually a gorgeous day here in LA. LA Memorial Coliseum. Temperatures, I'm guessing, somewhere in the 70s, but seems like it's a lot hotter down there.
It's got to be close to 80 if you're in the sun.
Oh, we just got a weather update. 75 degrees is what they're telling us.
There's your
scoring summary. Joe Max Moore on that last goal. They gave the assist to Henderson, but it's Perez who made that last pass. Almost sounds like we've got Bora mic'd during this game. You can hear him loud and clear. I'm sure the players can hear him if we can hear him. Perez will give it up.
Now here's the problem for El Salvador. See how open Dominic Kinnear was. Now he's got a chance to put a quality ball through to Kobe Jones.
Corner kick again.
So Henderson, Jones, Joe Max Moore, Perez, they've all had a lot of time and space in which to create those types of runs and in which to operate to then make even better plays to split the El Salvador defense. And, you know, Kobe nearly got through on the right side there.
Perez will handle this corner kick again. Far post is where it was headed, but before it got there, Chavez made the save.
He is the elder statesman here, 33 years of age. The experience hasn't helped him enough, though. He's down by 2 goals, mainly because of the inexperience in front of him. There are 5 guys here that have a little bit of experience. The rest of the team out in front of him, very green.
Played back to him. Now to that far side. Salazar chasing it. Can't reach it in time. Kinnear, quick throw in. Joe Max Moore was looking to turn and it was kicked away. May have hesitated a little bit. He's already scored a goal. He's got the 2nd U.S. goal. First one came from Kinnear.
Henderson involved in both goals. Hugo Perez, of course, very nicely setting up the 2nd goal.
Kinnear was looking for Dooley at the near post. Look at those shots. I haven't done a game where I've seen it that lopsided. I'm sure the Cayman Islands game was probably that, but we didn't televise it. Lallis across. Oh, missed kick there over the head of the goalkeeper.
The right idea.
One. Yes.
By Lallis to head it down.
Kobe Jones would have brought probably both you and I out of the booth had he scored on that one. That would have been spectacular. It's 2-0. USA dominating El Salvador.
Adidas is out to change soccer in America. The change begins at Foot Locker.
It's something you don't see today. The quality of hotels going up and the rates going down. At ITT Sheridan, we spent $1 billion improving our hotels and then added one final touch. Sure Savers. 3 simple rates from 5 to 50% off. So now the only thing more attractive than our hotels are our rates.
We spent $1 billion, so you'll feel like $1 million at Sheraton Hotels.
Call us for Sheridan Sure Savers.
Back to the live action. Henderson tees it up and shot it high over Chavez. But again, Ty, you've got to like what the USA is doing. The 12-1 shots on goal edge. They keep pressuring, forcing mistakes in the defensive end of El Salvador.
they're taking advantage of the fact that they're playing a young team, and they're winning the ball deep in the El Salvador zone. Now here this ball is stolen right at the top of the box, and Henderson takes a crack with the right leg. He gets under it though and sends it over the bar.
USA leading it 2-0. Kinnear and Joe Max Moore are the goal scorers. Saw an earlier status. We went to break. A 12-1 shots on goal edge for the United States. Perez.
there you have a contest between two very similar players, and Hugo Perez used to have that same kind of hair. He's changed the style as of late, but they're both very creative, petulant type players, and Perez in the duel here defensively gets an arm in here. Watch the arm action here. He's got his hand on him, he's pulling, he's tugging, and now he just, yeah, you're not going anywhere, Borja, is what he says. And how many times have you seen players do that to Perez?
Quite a few. Perez was in there looking to strike. Here's Kobe Jones. U.S. is back in familiar territory, the 18-yard box of El Salvador. Lallis.
That's a familiar sight there. Lallis trying to break down the right side as Jones is able to hold the ball until the run develops.
Alexi Lallis ready for this throw. Went near side, and it's cleared out. It was intended for Henderson, who was coming over again from the wide left side of the field to this near right side. Lallis will again throw in. (2-0) U.S. as Lallis takes the throw. Cleared out by El Salvador. Dooley trying to force it back. Agus may get a crack on the left wing. He's got Henderson with him. Bends it inside instead. There's the header. What a shot and a score. I had to wait to see if Chavez was going to knock it wide. He knocked it in. U.S. leads 3-0. The rout continues. Joe Max Moore.
Pretty goal on the head, and he got a lot of force on it as well, which is important. Had he not gotten that much force on it, I think Chavez had it covered. He did touch it, but the extra force that Joe Max Moore was able to get behind that shot with his head enabled it to get past the outstretched hand of Chavez and up and into the corner of the goal. And here's the cross coming from deep. It's Agus with the left, and look, it's got a nice curl to it coming back. Joe Max Moore gets up beautifully with some power, and again, totally uncontested. And that's the difference there. He can take the time to really put all that force behind it. And we've had another goal by the United States. It's turning into a rout. There's Joe Max Moore. That makes it 3-0. And now it's 4-0 as we come back.
I believe it was Kinnear, too. As we were going to replay, I just took a peek at the live action, and it looked like Kinnear with another
quick
header.
work. Agus. That's the other goal. That's goal number 3. I have to get another look at goal number 4. Just so much going on. It's the El Salvador team just going to pieces in terms of their defense. 4-0 for the USA.
Seems like the last commercial break I said it's still scoreless, but that was ages ago. We'll check it out. I believe it was Kinnear with a header scoring that last goal, so it's been a battle between those two. We'll get it officially for you. It happened while we're in replay.
This is the kind of game that you're afraid you'll get into bad habits because things come a bit too easily.
Well, that's what probably happened with the Cayman Islands. Kinnear did get that 4th goal, so it is his 7th. So he and Joe Max Moore having a race for the scoring lead on this team. This one went out of play. But you could see El Salvador collapsing. You could see the U.S. coming forward. We talked about momentum, and the U.S. has been rewarded here.
Well, the biggest thing was after the first goal. Normally you'll see then the team that was scored against really send some people into the attack and try and get it back. And we saw almost nothing of the sort from El Salvador. In fact, the U.S. team was able to step up their pressure and get the second one. And from there on in, it's really gone in that direction. The entire momentum had changed at that point, because if you're going to see any sort of attack come out of El Salvador, it would have been after that first goal.
The goals coming through the air via the headers, and fairly uncontested ones. So I think that Chavez won't be speaking too kindly to some of his defenders in front when this one's over.
Well, it's not only, I think, the inexperience, perhaps, of the El Salvador team here that we're talking about. I think it's also the U.S. team feeling the seriousness of their task in getting ready for some of their upcoming opponents.
They play 4 straight games, starting with Germany, against teams that have qualified for the World Cup. So the schedule is going to get very, very heavy, very ambitious.
So they've come into this with a very serious frame of mind, and this is what you have to show for it. It's a romp.
The Norwegian club team, Hansvinger, that one's at Fullerton on the 11th, but then after that, they'll play Germany in Palo Alto at Stanford Stadium, December the 18th, and then in January, they kick in gear again with 3 international matches. Here's Kobe Jones on the right. On the cut, Jones crossing it. They may get another, nope, throw in. It's going to say corner kick. Didn't quite make it. That's it for the first half of play. First half is over, and what a half it was for the U.S. that like to bottle it, come back and get the same thing going if they can in the second half of play, but not much fault with the U.S. team because Dominic Kinnear and Joe Maxmore have done really well. Before we go to break, we're going to tease you about our Adidas trivia quiz, and the question is, which player is 1-1 versus El Salvador in games played in his hometown and the name of that town? Come back with us, we'll give you the answer.
Remember, no matter what, the ball doesn't stop moving. Ready?
Yeah.
Where you going?
Come on.
Get it, get it.
Oh, watch this.
Go, dig it up. Come on. Oh, nice shot. Where you going, huh? Now I got you. Show off.
Another day begins in Europe. And as it does, American Airlines will touch down in 13 European cities in 9 different countries. So whether it's business or pleasure that brings you to Europe, fly the airline that can have you there as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
You can easily stop smoking with a new non-medicated nicotine-free doctor-approved nicotine stop smoking patch for only $9.95. This revolutionary new behavior modification non-prescription nicotine stop smoking patch program is so effective you can easily quit whether you smoke 1, 2, or even 3 packs a day. Roxana Sella smoked for 12 years.
And I quit in just 1 week.
Nicotine made it easy, and I'd have to go to a doctor for it.
20 years, 20 cigarettes a day, and I quit in just 2 weeks with nicotine.
To order nicotine, call 1-800-442-8884.
I called, I quit, and it only cost $9.95.
Call 1-800-442-8884 now.
Every cigarette brings you 7 minutes closer to death. So don't wait. Make the call. Make the call now.
Order nicotine now. Call 1-800-442-8884.
You know you have to quit. So make the call.
Explosive offense. Devastating defense. Experience 30 minutes of the most thrilling moments in college football ever. Watch as Barry Sanders cuts, jukes, and finds the open hole. Awesome. When Notre Dame's Rocket Ishmael touches the ball, it's fireworks. Just look at this incredible catch. Unbelievable. But here's the most unbelievable catch of all. College Sports' incredible football plays is yours free. That's right, free when you subscribe to College Sports, the hot new national magazine devoted exclusively to college sports. From the first kickoff in September to the slam dunking action of March Madness, the excitement of hockey, baseball, and much more. Call now to order your free incredible football plays video and receive 12 action-packed issues of College Sports magazine. You'll get more college sports action than you've ever had before. All for 3 easy installments of only $7.99 each. If it happens in college sports, you'll catch it here. Order now.
Today's World Series of Soccer game is proudly presented to you by Adidas, out to change soccer in America. By Sprint, not just another phone company. By JVC, the inventor of VHS. By Sunny Delight, the good stuff kids go for. By Fuji, a new way of seeing things. By Energizer, it keeps going and going and going. By Transitions Comfort Lenses, plastic makes them light, light makes them dark. And we come back with our Adidas trivia quiz. Shame on you if you didn't guess the answer to this one. We've talked about it during the game. If you didn't guess this, you weren't paying attention. The answer, number 7, Hugo Perez. And Perez has been playing pretty well in this first half of play, but so has everyone for the United States national team. Welcome back, everyone. Along with Ty Q, I'm John Paul Della Camera. What more can you say? It's 4-0. The U.S., they dominated, Ty, in the first half.
Well, they came out, like I said, I think with a real purpose. In that case, they've got these big games coming up. Germany on December 18th is the one really of note, and they've come in here with a resolve to perform well and get some things done, particularly offensively, because they've had some problems with that against some of the better teams that they've played. And here they've come in, and Dooley has been very comfortable at sweeper. That was a change. There's been no problem there. The midfield's been organized, but the main thing is Kobe Jones, Joe Max Moore, Dominic Kinnear, Hugo Perez have all had so much space, really, to work with in midfield to create attacks, and even Alexei Lalas has gotten into the attack quite a bit down the right side, and Jeff Agus down the left side. He got an assist on one of the goals, and the goals, when you look at them, of the 4 goals, 3 of them came from the head, and the U.S. team has just dominated in the air.
Well, the big thing for the U.S. squad, not that they've had chances, because they've had games where they've had plenty of chances before. The big thing, they're finishing.
They are. When they've had the chance to go up all alone with the head ball, they've shown perfect form. They've directed the ball on the goal, and they put in force behind it. I mean, those are textbook examples of how to take chances in front of the goal, particularly with the head.
It's almost like the players are reading that they're not supposed to be able to score goals, so they're not. Well, here today, they're scoring them in bunches. In fact, they have 4 in the first half of play. So as we go to break, the United States leads El Salvador 4-0 in this international friendly from the LA Memorial Coliseum. We'll come back with a lot more, including replays and stats in a special interview.
There's soccer, and then there's the ultimate soccer theme park. Soccer Blast USA, coming at you for one day only. Competition, games, prizes, clinics. Plus, you'll meet some of the game's greatest legends and see them in action. So bring your team. Come dressed to play Soccer Blast USA.
This is your life. Sprint Express, may I help you?
Sprint is the only global phone company with local, long distance, and cellular. So whether you're calling around the world or around the corner, with Sprint, you can be there now. So whoever said the world doesn't revolve around you, obviously didn't have Sprint.
This is your world, genuine and true. You're the one who keeps coming through, 'cause you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Proud to be your bud. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be your. Proud to be your bud.
Adidas is out to change soccer in America. The change begins at Foot Locker.
Welcome back, everyone, to Los Angeles. The U.S. squad leading over El Salvador by the score of 4-0 at halftime. One of the things that we told you at the start of the game was the story within the story, and that's Hugo Perez, who wears number 7 for the U.S. squad. He was born in San Salvador, came to this country at the age of 11. He is the subject of our special halftime interview.
You always think about who you're playing, especially now that it's, like you mentioned, my country. But I just hope that we play a good game and get a good result, especially against them. I don't want to go back and say, hey, we beat the national team of U.S. and they're stronger than us. And I remember two years ago, we went there and we lost 2-1, and it's a big thing for them, you know. America, they don't like Americans, so let's put it that way. Yeah, my mother's there, my younger brother's there, cousins, my grandfather's there still, so I still have a lot of family there. No, they root for me. They root for me. They have to root for me. All the results up to now don't matter nothing because we're already qualified. What matters is the way the group is staying together, coming together, playing together, knowing each other. We have to be patient because we don't have a league here, you know, and practicing every day, twice a day. Sometimes, you know, you lose your nerves because you want to play every week, but you can't. But I think that's helping us also to be patient.
That's a look at number 7, Hugo Perez, who plays proudly for the United States national team. The U.S. has always done well against El Salvador. 6 wins, 1 draw, and they've never lost. They've only lost once, I should say. 6 wins, we'll try that again. 6 draws and only 1 loss against El Salvador. They're on their way to another victory here today. It's a 4-0 lead at halftime, 2 goals apiece for Dominic Kinnear and Joe Maxmore. We'll continue from Los Angeles in just a moment.
You will receive cash. Yes, cash for Rolex, cash for Patek Philippe, cash for Cartier. Heritage Estate buyers will pay you cash for these men's wristwatches or the others I will list. Heritage is on a national search for watches. We will help you with cash if you own a Vacheron, Universal Genève, Breitling, also Audemars, Movado, and Le Coultre. Your watch can be worth thousands of dollars if it's a chronograph, moon phase, or repeater. This is an opportunity for you to receive cash for a watch that's gathering dust in a drawer. Heritage Estate buyers will pay you cash for the fine men's wristwatches we listed, working or not. If you don't call now, you're losing money. Write down our number. We're ready to pay top dollars now. Time means money. Call Heritage now.
Call 1-800-238-3100 for cash or to trade up to a fine brand name watch. We will buy your watch working or not. Call 1-800-238-3100 for cash or trade now.
This may look like an ordinary compact disc, but actually, it's an interactive encyclopedia. A stimulating match with a tennis pro. An interactive adventure through fantastic worlds. A glimpse into the world of Vincent van Gogh, or even a feature-length Hollywood movie. This is CDI, Compact Disc Interactive, a new world standard in multimedia home entertainment from Philips Electronics. You might expect to pay over $1,000 for an entertainment system that does this much, but now you can own a Philips CDI player for only $499. You can choose from more than 100 interactive titles by world-renowned publishers. CDI titles start at just $15. During this special TV promotion, we'll include Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia on disc, a $299 retail value, yours free during this limited time offer. Call the number on your screen now for a free brochure and for the location of your nearest CDI retailer.
Time now for our Budweiser halftime highlights, being brought to you by Budweiser, proud to be your Bud. What a first half it was, 4 U.S. goals.
Well, the U.S. had gone into the attack quite a lot. They had so many shots more. This one all the way to the back post from Chris Henderson on the in-swinger. Look at Dominic Kinnear go up by himself and just knot it in past the far post. That made it 1-0. That was the 27th minute, although the U.S. had a huge advantage in shots going into that. This is probably the nicest play. The ball from Henderson into Perez on the first touch. He plays Joe Maxmore in behind. Chavez rushes out, and the ball is just popped over him by Joe Maxmore. Very cool there with the on-rushing Chavez right in his face. Henderson celebrating as well. Now the left-footed cross by Jeff Agus. A nice outswinger going up well as Joe Maxmore. Perfect technique and just enough power on it to get past Chavez's outstretched right hand. And when you think about it, of the 4 goals, 3 of them came in the air, and Chavez was looking into a very low sun angle and may not have seen them as well. And plus, on all of them, the U.S. player going up by himself with no El Salvador defenders anywhere near them.
Dominic Kinnear was to later add a goal. A minute later, it was in the 42nd minute of play. So the goals coming for the U.S. minutes 27, 34, 41, and 42. And that concludes our Budweiser halftime highlight report being brought to you by Budweiser, proud to be your bud. U.S. squad tied dominating 16-1 in terms of shots against teams like maybe the Cayman Islands. We've seen that, but certainly not recently. They would have loved to have had this kind of a game in our last World Series of telecasts against the Ukraine when they simply did not play well.
Well, they did have many chances, though. When you remember to go back to those both of the Ukraine games, the U.S. team dominated in terms of chances and shots and forced saves and so on, but they couldn't get the ball to go in the goal. Today, it's gone in 4 times already for the United States, and Dr. Jose Tenorio, the coach for El Salvador, has to be looking at some changes, no doubt, and a different approach for their team here in the second half. And the kickoff will come for the USA wearing all white, and they've pretty much put their imprint on this game all the way around, and in particular they've finished off their chances.
Ty, one change that we see, Yash Mahalik is lined up wide on this left side. We'll check out and see if there are any other switches that were made by the U.S. squad at halftime.
Henderson is off, and Mahalik is on for him. Otherwise, it looks to be the same setup that we saw for the entire first half.
So the U.S. squad now playing with a 4-0 lead. As I recall, it's a lead they had against the Cayman Islands as well. 3 players scored a pair of goals apiece. Whistle on that last foul on Navarrete.
Ricardo Colorado, number 14 for El Salvador, has entered the game as a striker for them. There's Mahalik. One change for the U.S. lineup, coming in for Chris Henderson. I say Henderson had a very profitable first half. Sure fouled on a couple of the goals.
A miss inside and the chance, but Hugo Perez didn't see it quite in time. You know, this is 2 straight now, 2-goal games for Dominic Kinnear and Joe Maxmore. And I'm sure you can go back in the U.S. record books and you'll find that that's a first. Down on the left wing side, here's Mahalik. Looking across. It was low, it was blocked, but it's still loose inside the 18, and then collected there by El Salvador. But when you're down 4-0 in international soccer, you're not expected to win. But what are some of the things El Salvador's going to think about here?
I think El Salvador would just like to establish some rhythm to their game and keep some possession, because so much of their game is based around that anyway, but that would at least take some of the pressure off of them. What the U.S. team has done so well is keep the pressure in the El Salvador end.
For the U.S. squad, with the exception of probably that Cayman Islands game, as we look at the stats, they're not used to leads like this.
It's total domination when you look at the shots in terms of the offensive production by the United States as opposed to El Salvador. And the U.S. probably a main goal for them would be to not give up a goal. In other words, have the discipline to go into the second half and maybe get a couple more, but definitely not give anything up, because this is not a team that should score against you.
Lalas moving it wide right side. The stats also showed a 5-0 edge for the United States in terms of corner kicks. Dooley. Knocked left side to Agus. U.S. squad has been given a lot of room out there today. They've earned a lot of room themselves. They've made some great plays on the defensive end and have helped them offensively. But the big thing is they've had space in other games, but the stats will show you here too. They've really taken the space given to them and used it to their advantage.
We see the saves there, 4 for El Salvador, none for Tony Miola, so obviously not much pressure out in front of him. I think the foul is an interesting total, because normally when a team is down, they will resort to more physical play and try and change the tide of the game in that respect by some intimidation. We've not seen any of that out of the El Salvador team. I think they're just that young and inexperienced. They're intimidated by the U.S. team.
That is the one total that could go up in the second half. Mahalik giving up now towards Dooley. Dooley going further forward. He did not play in that Cayman Islands game, which leads me to wonder what the final score might have been in that one had he played, but he had a thigh injury. 8-1 without him. They won it.
Dooley's been pushing forward since the kickoff of the second half here. He's getting hungry to get involved in this attack.
Kinnear from Kobe Jones. Will someone for the U.S. squad get a hat trick?
That means Mahalik's playing in the defense, doesn't it? And Dooley's moved out of the defense. Does it mean that?
Lalas chasing and coming up with it, succeeding in the chase for Kinnear. Dooley. Mahalik pretty much playing Henderson's role wide on this side. Knocked long by Perez. Joe Maxmore, a long way to go for that.
What you really have here for the United States here on the left side, 2 natural left footers too, which could be very good offensive weapon. Agus, we've seen the quality of his crosses on the 1 goal, and Mahalik can match that.
Ty, you're up 4-0 if you're playing for the U.S. How much of a conscious effort will they make? We better hold off on this. How much of a conscious effort would they make to try and get the hat trick for Kinnear for Joe Max Moore?
I think there's more important considerations. I mean, that'd be real nice, and that will come into play perhaps later on in the game. I think right now it's more of a question of instilling some discipline in your play. Stay organized. Don't even give El Salvador any daylight.
It'd be something if they could hold him without a shot for an entire game. That would also be
well, they had one shot. They had one shot, but Tony Miller's had no saves.
No saves.
No shots on goal, which is what that would mean.
Throw-in coming up for the U.S. squad when they get the ball back. Come on, give it back.
Well, Kinnear, he'll never get his hat trick if they don't give the ball back.
Yeah.
He's the one that's waiting there for it. And now Agus has come over for it.
Well, the police are there, so I'm sure we'll get the ball back soon.
There it is. There it is.
Agus with the throw. Half of the field, or almost half of the field now, not quite as shaded. Before it was total sunlight. Miola's facing a lot of sunlight toward his end, but it's not
it's a low angle though too, which makes it tougher. But if they're not in his half of the field, what difference does it make?
That was my next point. If they don't shoot, it's not going to bother. Agus switching it right side. Kobe Jones chasing it. It was missed by Penate.
I think it's worth saying, guys, these scores go around the world now with the U.S. in World Cup year. The world will be interested in the U.S.
of the game.
U.S. with more.
The new number is red ticket number.
Playing it all the way across. Dooley took a knock there, and a foul is going to be called. Foul on Colorado.
If you're holding the winning number,
as this game goes down, we're assuming that it's going to continue to be a similar scoreline. Looking at the perception of this game, what a U.S. team does against a team like El Salvador, and I think we may have to factor in that this is not the strongest El Salvador team that they can field. But it still is the type of scoreline that you want to see on a more consistent basis. The United States becoming more of a soccer power that can polish off some of these smaller countries. Well, I don't even want to say smaller countries of lesser soccer stature.
Well, the bottom line is if you play, I think Jamaica to beat them 1-0 is disappointing. To beat the Cayman Islands by 2-0 doesn't say anything. To beat them by 8-1, yeah, you factor in that they're a weaker nation, but you're supposed to beat those teams.
And you're starting to show that you have some offensive firepower against some of the weaker teams.
You got to do that. Right side of the field, U.S. squad controlling this game. Probably controlling it like no other game we've seen in a World Series of soccer telecast. Possibly with one exception. I'm not sure if you even did that game. I did not. The game against China 5-0.
Yeah, that's when Winalda got his bundle of goals.
Did you do that game?
No,
Boran Milutinovic leading the United States squad. We're going to see a substitution coming in for Six's Alvarado. He was supposed to be a starter, but at the last moment we got a change. Penate went in for him as a starter. Referee has not acknowledged it yet. They're going to let the U.S. take the corner. Dominic Kinnear with 2 goals. Joe Max Moore has matched it. Kinnear goes near post. There's a header in front. U.S. Well, I thought they'd scored again. Oh, it was very close.
It went through the net.
I tell you, one player
it sure looked like it went through the net to me, and that's what the U.S. players are saying. I'd like to get another look at that one.
We're way up. I was ready to call that one in. And now they're talking to the linesman on the other side.
Look at Joe Max Moore shaking his head.
Show you in just a moment. Let's take one.
It fooled my eyes, and we're sitting way up here, nosebleed heaven.
Perez sending it in. May get it back. Nope, it hops over on that far wing side.
Let's have a look at this. And this is great. Dooley gets up so well for the flick onto the back post. Joe Max Moore gets up even better. He heads it down. Now look at that. Is that inside the post or isn't it? And Joe Max Moore's pointing immediately.
I have an eye appointment on Wednesday. I'll let you know Thursday. I'm serious, I do.
I can't tell you that one from here. Maybe a different angle will help us.
You know, even with 20/20 vision, that's a tough one.
That looked like it went through the net.
I guarantee you, if the score ends up like this, obviously at the post-game celebration, we'll be talking about that as we look at Marcelo Balboa. I think that brace was everybody's clue. So that was Marcelo, but I'm sure everybody will be talking about that last situation as well. Now, is this the kind of game? We'll watch Joe Max.
Let's have a look. This is another angle. This should tell us if they pan around quickly enough. There's the flick on by Dooley. Joe Max getting up. It's deflected. Is there a space there in that net, or did it go just past the leg of the defender on that far post.
Wish we had a close-up of Penate's face, the defender, number 13. I was going to ask you as they make that switch with number 6 Alvarado coming on. See, Penate.
Alvarado's another one of the under 21 players, very young guy, probably his first shot with the full national team.
Navarrete's the man that leads. I was going to ask you before, is this the kind of game that Balboa will like to get in on? It's a 4-0 lead, or maybe frustration from El Salvador?
Yeah, in some ways it's a two-edged sword. It looks so one-sided. There looks to be so much space out there, but what you do worry about is, like you mentioned, frustration or just plain disgust by an El Salvador player to take it out on a U.S. player physically and go for an injury, since they're obviously not going to get anywhere in the scoreline.
El Salvador trying to go forward. Now instead it's Kobe Jones on the right side. Oh, Kobe Jones was trying to dazzle on that far wing, and it finally went out. Great effort.
All right, this should tell us, is Joe Max Moore, does he need his eyes examined just like us? And he's got less excuse. He's right there. He heads it. It's going in. It deflects. And what about that big steel pole there that doesn't let us see the white pole?
Yeah, we can't remove it.
No, it must have been wide by 2-3 inches.
Yeah. Well, when the players talk about it, it might be, well, I was in by 2 or 3 inches. No, it was out by 2 or 3 inches.
There's no obvious hole in the net there. Dominic Kinnear in some pain.
He's in a groove, I'll tell you, with a couple of goals in the last game. Same with Joe Max Moore, and nice goals as well. A yellow card being issued
to Borja.
Yeah, we missed it. We were on replay, but I'm sure that he's the man that whacked him.
He's making up to him now.
The Mexican referee Castellanos making that presentation. We're 10.5 minutes gone here. In this, the second half, U.S. leading it 4-0 if you're just tuning in. 2 each by Joe Max Moore and Dominic Kinnear, the leading goal scorers on this U.S. squad.
This is almost the first time in this half that El Salvador's had the ball in the U.S. end of the field.
And not for long. Quick touches, nice job, Joe Max Moore. Going forward, Perez joining him. 3 others as well. Here's Joe Max across. Perez, free shot, Perez shoots, he scores! Hugo Perez! It's 5-0 U.S.
And that was only justice for Hugo Perez to get the goal, because he's the one that started it with that beautiful first-time pass with his left foot out to Joe Max Moore. And I had to laugh. I was trying to wonder as Perez was about to take that shot, how's he going to get his left foot on this one? Because he loves to take him with his left. There's Joe Max Moore cutting in. He plays it to Perez, and Perez is so much a left-footed player that I thought he was still going to try and get his left foot on that one. Instead, he takes it with his right, and he takes it nicely, slotting it into the far side netting. But this ball here had been played through by Perez to Joe Max Moore. He cuts inside nicely on Moyen, and then puts the ball square across to Perez, who takes it on the second touch with his right foot. It was an important first touch with the left foot, but a nice finish by Hugo Perez, and he did start the play with a great pass.
Joe Max Moore will draw the assist. Unofficially, we've got that at 55 minutes. Perez's 13th goal internationally, so he continues to move up on Wijnaldum, who's in second place. Bruce Murray with a comfortable lead with 21 goals is in first place, but for Perez, that's his 4th goal against his native country. Now to the right side, U.S. squad attacking again. Joe Max Moore cuts inside, looking for the pass, and still doesn't get it. He was trying to create some space.
Mark Chung has entered the lineup for the USA. He's wearing number 6. He came on for Kinnear. Maybe Kinnear took a harder knock than we thought on that yellow card situation. There's Hugo Perez, set up by Joe Max Moore, who got the ball from Hugo Perez. So Perez gets a goal and assist really on the same play.
They're calling it in the 57th minute, so again, there's going to be a discrepancy on the clock.
And Balboa is on the halfway line, poised to rejoin the USA after about 8.5 months.
Talk about butterflies going through somebody's stomach.
A full knee reconstruction, and this is a miraculous comeback. He's worked so hard, but he's got the motivation of a World Cup in his home country, and he's been a starting player. He's fought his way all the way back.
We showed you the injury on a World Series of Soccer telecast, and you probably heard it. There was a mic on the field as Moore's shot. Oh, was deflected up and out of play.
He heads that down. It's a goal. It's almost been a heading clinic by Joe Max Moore. He's getting up well and getting a lot of power behind the shot. It's a great save, really, there by Chavez.
The phrase they're using now in basketball, he's in the zone, and you could say that about him and Kinnear. Everything is quality. Substitution. They're not letting Balboa in yet. Someone just came up for El Salvador, though, and now they're going to make a switch. Juarez coming on for El Salvador. U.S. will take this corner, near side. Joe Max Moore sent it in short side, deflected out. He's going to get another. So those corners add up. That's 7 or 8 now for the U.S.
And Bora Milutinovic giving some last-minute instructions to Balboa. And as a coach, I almost have to know what he's telling him. He's saying, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. Just play it smart.
Goalkeeper Chavez is right there again. El Salvador bringing it up as we go back.
Here's the 5th goal for the USA. It is Joe Max Moore cutting inside. He finds Hugo Perez, who then fakes to the one side, slots it across with the right leg back to the near side. A nicely taken goal by Perez, and uncharacteristically, really, his right foot instead of his left.
There's Dooley giving up on this left side. Joe Max Moore, give and go. Got that one from Sorber. Down the left side, here's Mihalik. His father was a former pro soccer player from Poland.
Here's some history here. Hugo Perez, who just scored that 5th goal. His father, grandfather, and cousin all played professionally in El Salvador. We mentioned that Hugo was born in San Salvador, the capital, but moved to Southern California when he was 11 years old. So what a history there for his family in El Salvador. And Marcelo Balboa, this is a great feeling to see this. I've got to give him a hand here.
Nice to see him back in the U.S. lineup. He had led the team the last couple of years, actually, in games played in minutes, hardly ever came out. Give Desmond Armstrong a lot of credit filling in a tough role in Balboa's place there. As we said before, played in 12 straight games, all minutes. Coming back the other way. Looking for their first chance. Never got there. It was Cerritos who was trying to make that play. 15+ minutes gone here. Second half, U.S. squad leading it 5-0 on the heels of their 8-1 triumph over the Cayman Islands. Joe Max Moore giving it up. Chung took a bump. Play continues, though.
So Dooley has come off, and he'd had some problems recently with some tendinitis in his Achilles, so that makes some sense there.
Right side of the field. Switch back, nobody home. Sorber recovers it for the U.S. Now has a long way to go to get the rest of this. Good effort on that far side. It went out. And the ball belongs. They're pointing to the U.S.
And he won the call. He won the call, too, which I'm not sure from here that it looked like it was his.
I'm not sure either, but he did win it. Miola's back for it for the U.S. So I thought he was going to pass Balboa in caps, but give Marcelo another international.
They're even up, huh? He couldn't.
75 each.
Marcelo couldn't stand to sit there and watch it, I guess.
Well, Marcelo is playing with that knee brace that we told you. Back in his sweeper's role. Dooley came on, or came out. Balboa came on. Cerritos giving it. Flipped back by Hector Lopez. And Agus running out of room on that near side. But it's his throw-in.
It's a professional soccer in the pedigree of Marcelo Balboa as well. His father had come from Argentina to play in Chicago in the North American Soccer League. And Marcelo born in Chicago, but grew up in California.
Kobe Jones making the run, coming through, still with a chance, trying to play it across. Smart idea. He was looking for Mihalik, but a good job by the defense that time of El Salvador. But Jones causes problems when he's in that kind of full gear. Turned it up a notch. No one could catch up with him for El Salvador. Here's Perez. Corner kick. 5-0 lead U.S. This one's bending. Cerritos clears it out with a header. Colorado couldn't get to it. Now it's back to the midfield line. Backpedaling. Sorber. Mark Chung, who played collegiate at the University of South Florida. Mihalik. Oh, took a nasty one there. You can hear him. That's Borja, who's already playing with one yellow card.
Right, he's got a card already. He's not happy. This guy is one of the top players in El Salvador. He's used to being on good squads. This is less than a good squad. Here's Mihalik trying to keep the ball, and he takes a pretty good crack from Borja.
And as we come back, Joe Max Moore's got the hat trick. Right back from replay, Joe Max Moore, another header. 6-0. Get us a bigger score sheet.
The set pieces for the U.S. paying off. This is a free kick. Results from the free kick that we just saw. Borhart fouled Mahalik out on the left side. Now stepping up to it is Mahalik. A good swing, outswinger on it. And you don't hit him much better than that in terms of placement, as Joe Max Moore just hammered the ball into the upper corner. At least he wasn't totally uncontested, but he made a great run to the near post. And right away getting an assist. Mahalik's not played that many minutes in here, and he's involved in the goal. In fact, he drew the foul, remember, off of Borhart.
Joe Max Moore just had like a month's worth of stats. You just saw it. 3 goals, 2 assists. That's a month's work for some of the good players on this squad. He's got it all today. Guess who the leading scorer will be for the U.S. squad, unless Kinnear could come back.
That was a nasty tackle down in the corner there.
Kinnear has obviously been substituted for, so he won't get the chance, but he was hot too. Here's Kobe Jones, right side.
Open the gates like the road runner.
I know you want to play. I'd like to play.
I'd like to be in the midfield and have Kobe Jones playing out in front, just put a few balls into the space, because nobody's going to catch him.
And it's got to be frustrating, Ty, if you're El Salvador. You're down by this, and these guys aren't letting up. The USA is still coming. You're letting them through, though, so it's not like the USA is pouring it on. If you're giving them space, you can't expect them to sit back and play keep away for another 30 minutes.
Well, the preparation of this El Salvador team, really weak, I think, in terms of their defense, particularly on set pieces. We've seen all these crosses come in, and the U.S. team going up, winning head balls, not only winning them, but having the time and the space to hammer the ball on target. Joe Max Moore headed goals, 2 of his 3. His first goal, in fact, was a nice little lob over an out-rushing Chavez.
We've got a problem. Lallis is upset.
Well, this is what can happen in a lopsided game. The frustrations just run so high, which is why you have to hesitate to put Balboa into this one-sided type of game, because it could get ugly.
That was so far away, Ty. I don't know if somebody threw a little elbow or what happened there, but it was way too far away. But something obviously provoked Lallis. He was hot.
I see a red card coming out, yeah.
Maybe we'll see it.
This is Lallis on the ball with the red hair between, lays the ball off. It goes into Kobe Jones. And here from behind, you're going to see an ugly tackle. And that's they're tired of watching Kobe Jones run away from him so easily. So now what will Lallis, does anybody retaliate here? Yeah, Lallis wants to send a little message. Caligiuri's in there too. They're saying you can't do that, which is, you know, take that kind of a tackle from behind on Kobe Jones. And you're looking at the enforcer, Lallis, really standing up for Kobe Jones, as he should, because that was a cheap shot.
I hadn't even seen Caligiuri coming in, but a red card should have been. I'll tell you, the first tackle was bad enough, then he leg whipped him with the left leg. So
yeah, it was the scissors. It was the double legs came in. It was very obvious.
He needed 2 red cards. Forget the 1.
Oh, he only played about 10 minutes.
You like to say he's the guy.
He's the guy in practice that had a total nightmare yesterday. He was supposed to start today. They yanked him because of his poor performance in the practice. Look what he's done for himself today. He's made a fool of himself. An ugly, nasty tackle. And Lallis is perfectly justified in coming in and getting in his face.
Kobe Jones applauding the fact that Alvarado is gone.
Because there's no intent there whatsoever of playing the ball. He's trying to hurt Kobe Jones.
Gotta call it. Absolutely have to call it.
So Jose Luis Alvarado makes a short stint for El Salvador today and heads for the showers with the red card. But Kobe was off to the races again.
Kobe Jones has to be the fastest player on this squad. Ball is played in off the set piece, where the U.S. has had a field day. They lead it here 6-0. Wait till you see the final stats at the end of this one. Shots on goal and corner kicks, etc. U.S. may set some other records here. Balboa giving it up. 8 goals was their previous high against the Cayman Islands. There's Balboa just reaching. Couldn't quite get to it. He's coming forward a little bit more. Not as much pressure on him, obviously.
And then we're going to commercial.
This is Max Moore's last goal. We'll see the driven ball by Mahalik, and a great sprint to the near post and a good serve, and he hammers it into the upper corner. What a goal and what a romp for the USA today.
This is your life. Sprint Express, may I help you?
Sprint is the only global phone company with local, long distance, and cellular. So whether you're calling around the world or around the corner, with Sprint, you can be there now. So whoever said the world doesn't revolve around you, obviously didn't have Sprint.
Another day begins in Europe. And as it does, American Airlines will touch down in 13 European cities in 9 different countries. So whether it's business or pleasure that brings you to Europe, fly the airline that can have you there as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
Guess what you missed while we were away? 7th goal for the U.S.
It's Caligiuri to Kobe Jones. Jones keeps the ball in play, plays it out. Watch the quick turn here by Joe Maxmore on the second touch. He spins, finds the far side netting. Chavez just shaking his head because a guy should never have that kind of time to spin and shoot that close to the goal.
He's been in a shooting gallery all day. U.S. has exploded. That's their 7th goal, 4 for Joe Maxmore.
Look at this smile.
That has to be.
That tells it all.
That has to be a U.S. record. Think back. 4 goals in 1 game. 3 was probably a record.
What did Wijnaldum have against China in that game that we talked about?
Good point.
He may have had 5. I'm thinking 4 or 5.
Wow, we'll look it up.
It could have been only 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We have to look that one up.
I think so. Because I think Perez scored in that game and someone else, but we'll check it out.
He may have been involved in the other goal.
Performance. 7-0, U.S. squad.
I think you're right. Wijnaldum had a hat trick, and he may have had a couple assists in that one.
Played across. I'm wondering if we're all done with the scoring or not. They're going to get more chances the way they're playing, the way both teams are playing.
Well, they're a man up, so they've always got an open man if they play it right. Since the ejection for Alvarado, number 6.
Kobe Jones had the assist, minute 70. That last one, so his last 2 goals 5 minutes apart. Our preliminary research tells us that the last time an American scored a hat trick was Brent Goulet back in '87. So if that's true, Wijnaldum probably.
I think Wijnaldum had at least 3.
Yeah, check it out. But no one's ever had 4. That you know. Some things you know without looking at the record book. El Salvador playing it back. They've really struggled. As you think back, when it was 0-0, what happened? Or was it that the door was open so long that it was bound to happen?
Well, I think I mentioned before that the key was when it was 1-0, that El Salvador did not then step it up and try and get the tying goal or work themselves into the game. Instead, they allowed the U.S. to use that momentum from their first goal for even more pressure. And the second goal kind of told it all.
Here's Mahalik. Picked up an assist already, just coming on here in the second half. Caligiuri, who spent 3 years in Germany, to the right wing side. Kobe Jones wide open on that far side, looking across it low. He had 2 players open, Chung and Joe Maxmore.
Those hard-driven low crosses can be so dangerous there too. Jones has got those down to a T.
Everything's dangerous now for Chavez because he's not getting any protection back there. 3 shots for the United States, and they're finishing as well as they've ever finished. Back for Balboa. If our clock is right here at the Coliseum, we're in the 27th minute of play, second half. Caligiuri with a touch off the right foot of Joe Maxmore, wide right side. Kobe Jones, oh, he got crunched. Here comes the referee. I think we might see another card. Red, he's gone. Well, there's that frustration we spoke about. That's Juarez. What is it with these substitutes? He didn't last long either. That's a second red card from a sub in the second half. He's finished with 9
These
players.
are very young players. They're trying to make a mark here. And he gets it really for the, not so much for the kick that he takes at Kobe Jones. Watch the arm action. He comes up with the arms into Kobe's chest. It's nearly a headbutt to finish it off. So he hit him about 3 different times, all in one motion.
So they'll finish up with 9 players, or maybe not, maybe less.
Both of them on Kobe.
Kobe Jones drew both of those. Well, besides getting his share of points today, Ty, He single-handedly caused some frustration for two players.
He's also become a bullseye for the frustrated El Salvador defenders. Looking at Winalda's record here, West China had 2 goals. So
I think that's accurate about Goulet with a hat trick. Another substitution. That's Mark Santel, a 3-time All-American at St. Louis University. Our Adidas trivia quiz should have been who's the only 4-time player, but I don't want to miss a goal here. I'll continue. The only 4-time All-American is to my right, Mr. Keogh. Is that correct?
At St. Louis University?
Yes, yes, I'm sorry. At St. Louis University. So Mark Santel cannot break that record. What a game here in Los Angeles. The USA leading it incredibly. 7-0 versus El Salvador. We'll be back.
Adidas is out to change soccer in America. The change begins at Foot Locker.
There's soccer, and then there's the ultimate soccer theme park. Soccer Blast USA. Coming at you for one day only. Competition, games, prizes, clinics. Plus, you'll meet some of the game's greatest legends and see them in action. So bring your team. Come dressed to play Soccer Blast USA.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer battery. It keeps going and going and going.
Another day begins in Europe. And as it does, American Airlines will touch down in 13 European cities in 9 different countries. So whether it's business or pleasure that brings you to Europe, fly the airline that can have you there as early as tomorrow morning. American Airlines, something special to Europe.
Well, the best thing that you could say for El Salvador, they only have about 15 minutes left of this. They've struggled today. The U.S. squad setting it across with Kobe Jones continuing to get room, but they should have room. If you just joined us, El Salvador's down to 9 players as Joe Max Moore has had a field day today.
Not much of a contest here. 23 shots for the USA versus 1 shot for El Salvador, unless you want to count the 2 shots that they put on Kobe Jones.
No.
And those were counted because those were red cards.
Joe Max Moore has 4 goals. Perez 1. Kinnear 2. El Salvador, don't expect them to do much offensively now, again with only 9 players. Colorado now taken back the other way on the right side by Chung. U.S. squad still attacking. Right back. Here's a shot taken, and it's cracked over the bar by Sorber. Goal kick coming up for El Salvador. It is all USA in Los Angeles. They lead it by 7.
My own boss, I also became my own employee. So now he tells me to make coffee, open the mail, make sure the copier's working. So I checked around and people said get a Canon personal copier. Canon has a unique single cartridge that contains the toner, developer, drum, and virtually all the moving parts. Change the cartridge and it's like getting a new copier. Buying it was such a good idea, I took him to lunch.
Canon personal copiers. Call 1-800-4321-HOP.
What a day for a daydream.
A new look, impossible to resist. The rush of a powerful V6 engine, superb control and handling, even the safety of driver and passenger airbags. This stuff of dreams? Not anymore.
Like it? Loved it.
What a day for a daydream.
The new Grand Grand Prix Sport Coupe.
It's a 7-0 lead for the United States versus El Salvador. Ty, this is certainly good practice for a U.S. squad that will face some much tougher competition coming up as we look at the shots. They'd love to do that against Germany on the 18th.
Don't count on it.
No, I'm not. We all dream, but they play Germany in Stanford and then a very ambitious schedule in January.
January, the USA will face Norway on January 15th. In Phoenix, they'll face Switzerland. In Los Angeles, out at Fullerton on January 22nd. And Russia up in the Kingdom in Seattle on January 29th. Germany, Norway, Switzerland, and Russia, all 4 of those teams have qualified. They're in the World Cup finals in the final 24 teams.
Last game on turf, indoors at the Kingdom, and it's a homecoming for Chris Henderson, who hails from Everett, Washington, very nearby. U.S. squad dominating. Doesn't matter who they bring in. One good thing is that they've stayed in sync here, so even though they've made probably the maximum 5 substitutions, we've lost count through all of this, but they've just not lost a beat here. They continue to attack. The passes are strong, using the full length and width of the field. They're not getting into the bad habits, which is always a danger.
Well, if you do here, you might get cranked.
Who's left to crank?
Well, my point being, as far as moving the ball, now's the time to play a lot of quick, short passes so that an opponent doesn't have a chance to line you up.
You can feel it deep inside. Dedication and a real sense of pride. And you're giving it your best. Proud to be your bud. Budweiser. Proud to be your bud. Proud to be your bud. Ooh, yeah. Proud to be your Proud to be your bud. The stars will always shine, the birds will always sing. As long as there is thirst, there's always the real thing. Coca-Cola Classic is always the one. Whenever there is fun, there's always Coca-Cola. Yeah. Coca-Cola. Always Coca-Cola.
We are back in Los Angeles with Ty Keogh. I'm John Paul Della Camera. 7-0. The U.S. squad toying really with El Salvador. All of the numbers besides those on the scoreboard certainly indicate that. The last chance we had to look at the shots on goal showed a 23-1 edge. Corner kicks, I'm sure, are a lopsided edge as well as they were at halftime. And the U.S. continues to go forward. El Salvador's had 2 players red carded here in the second half, but the score was already, I believe, 5-0 at that time, maybe even more. The U.S. squad has been led by Joe Max Moore with 4 goals, Kinnear with 2, Hugo Perez getting 1, and several players with multiple assists.
And Hugo Perez keeps up his streak, more or less, from the country of his birth. He's a USA citizen, lived in Southern California since the age of 11, born in El Salvador, and seems to always come up with at least a goal against his former country.
I'm sure he played here, too, because he originally signed pro with the LA Aztecs, and this was one of their home fields. So he may have seen some action here, although I'm not sure how much he got to play during that season. That was years ago. Chavez will put the ball back in play. Before we go further, I want to say something. We got handed a press release before the game got started. This is very significant, I think, that the United States Soccer Federation has preliminarily accepted the Division I professional soccer application of Major League Professional Soccer Incorporated. They've been talking about getting a pro league, making a proposal, getting FIFA to accept it. There were 3 groups talking with the U.S. soccer officials in Chicago this weekend, and this is the release we had today. I think the key words are preliminary acceptance, and it's only a 1-page release. It mentions the groups that were involved, and it says that the development plan of Major League Professional Soccer will continue to be developed pending further review by the U.S. Soccer National Board of Directors. They will make a presentation to FIFA come the draw.
Because what they're really shooting for is a full-blown professional league by '95, by the spring of '95. So this is preliminary.
It would be nice to see something accepted, something on the drawing board. As we look at Marcelo Balboa coming back less than 8 months after anterior ligament cruciate surgery. It sounds painful just to say it.
How about full knee reconstruction?
That's a good shot of it. Yep. In your years of playing, you ever have anything that serious? I know you had hamstring problems, but never
No, that used to be the one that finished a lot of guys. The surgical techniques are so far advanced now that then it was the guy was out for at least a year. Now you see a situation here, Marcelo Balboa, really through his tenacity and his rehab program and his motivation back after only 8.5 months. It's phenomenal.
Joe Max Moore chasing. He's already had a career day. What more is left? Oh, I know what's left. An interview with you at the end of the game.
We'll get a little talk to Joe, see what's happening, see if he can keep this up against Germany and so forth. Norway, Switzerland, Russia. He's a marked man now. It may not be as easy.
I mean, this is going to be a dream, regardless of the competition. It's an international game.
He's from Southern California.
Yeah.
Played at UCLA.
One of his coaches, I guess his coach actually at UCLA, assisting Bora Milutinovic to his right, Sidney Schmidt, immediately to his right, the UCLA Bruins head coach.
Well, I think if we look at the amount of goals, the offense that the U.S. has produced today, obvious offside. If you look at the offense, think about some of the criticism there's been. Hey, that without Ernie Stewart, without Roy Wegerle, without Eric Winalda, you know, without Tab Ramos, the U.S. can't score. But they're proving it that today that they can score.
Look, there was another red card.
Yeah.
40 minutes left. You're right. I think the last story I saw said that the U.S. was playing El Salvador without a true forward. 7 goals today. Here's another chance down the right wing side. Oh, great back heel. Now it's showtime in L.A.
That was out.
And this is the place for showtime, right? This is where basketball's phrase showtime began. There's Janusz Michalek. His father's name was Chris. Played also, besides playing for the Polish national team, also played in Hartford in the old NASL days. That's as relaxed a U.S. bench as we've ever seen. I see smiles.
These are the goals that you wish you could put in the bank and use them at some latter date. Yeah?
Especially with the schedule you just rattled off. Kobe Jones on that right side, shook off one player. There comes Kobe Jones again, trying to spin around his man and took the shot, but it was whistled down before that. We're going to let Ty Keogh go downstairs, head for an interview with Joe Max Moore. That'll be our attempt. Right now, it's a 7-0 lead for the United States in a game that they've dominated really like no other.
It's something you don't see today. The quality of hotels going up and the rates going down. At ITT Sheridan, we spent $1 billion improving our hotels and then added one final touch, Sure Savers. 3 simple rates from 5 to 50% off. So now the only thing more attractive than our hotels are our rates.
We spent $1 billion, so you'll feel like $1 million at Sheraton Hotels.
Call us for Sheridan Sure Savers.
I'm moving constantly out here. I've got to stay focused. If I let hunger get in my way, some other guy grabs my shot. So I carry Snickers.
Packed with fresh roasted peanuts, thick milk chocolate, and caramel. Snickers stops the hunger.
Hey, these guys aren't the only ones competing out here.
There's your score, 7-0 in favor of the United States. And I was saying as we went to the last commercial break, playing like they've played in no other. And I think that even includes the Cayman Islands, that 8-1 game. I didn't see it. I saw what the numbers were, and I still think that this one seems easier by the stats in terms of domination. Joe Max Moore has had a field day, 4 goals, career high. A historical moment for the U.S. squad. For anybody to score 4 goals in a game. Dominic Kinnear with a pair. Hugo Perez with 1 against his native land. Bora Milutinovic. How could you be critical of this game? Everything has gone right for the U.S., but they've worked hard. They've earned it. They did a lot of things well in the first half, and they were rewarded for it with a 4-0 lead. Here's Sorber. Perez. Sorber, oh, he was free. Just didn't get through. Again, remember, 2 players have been red carded, plus a fan. So it's now 11 players versus 9, as if the U.S. needed more help today. Perez into space. Joe Max Moore, the shot, and it's just too high. He was looking and coming very close to his 5th goal of the game. What a game it's been for Joe Max Moore. You got to feel sorry, if you have any compassion at all, for Nicolas Chavez, the goalkeeper, 33 years of age, and all he has seen is shot after shot after shot. Perez knocking it. Here's how the play goes. Right to Moore. The goalkeeper did a nice job, Chavez, in challenging, trying to cut off the angle as best he could. It's not been a very pleasant day for El Salvador, to say the least. It's all U.S. Mihalik, Chung, dropping it back for Sorber. Worried about the closing last couple of minutes, depending on injury time or if the referee added time while he was issuing those red cards. There was a bit of a delay. Mark Santel falling, getting right back up. Santel playing more recently with the St. Louis Ambush indoors of the NPSL and Colorado Foxes of the APSL. They've won the last 2 outdoor championships. All the way to the far right wing side. Settle down, now pushed to the right. Kobe Jones is there. Played back outside again. Sorber. The entire field now shaded, getting through on a cross, just missing where the header was Chung. Here's Caligiuri, edge of the 18. Now to Perez, back for Paul Caligiuri. Right across, not long enough. Here comes Lallis charging through. Lallis trying to get the shot away. Great effort from Alexi Lallis. Paul Caligiuri, who had started that, also a native Californian. U.S. squad has never let go with any of the energy. Killer instinct, etc. It's all been there today. You can't say enough good things about the U.S. This has ended only about 15 seconds into injury time. What a game for the U.S. What a game for that player. Joe Max Moore ended up with 4 goals on the day. Joe Max Moore virtually doubled. Actually, he did double his scoring totals from 1993's international games. He came in with 4 against internationals. He'll exit with 8. He had 4, Kinnear 2, Perez 1. Viola was hardly tested. Not hardly. He was not tested. I should rephrase it. U.S. squad wins it 7-0. We'll talk to one of the heroes when Ty and I return to L.A.
Uh-oh. Do you toss and turn all night long? Ouch! Do you awaken with neck and shoulder pain from a soft, lumpy pillow? Now join the thousands who have discovered the Contour Pillow, anatomically designed to follow the natural contour of your neck and head while it supports and aligns your spine for a great night's sleep. Look, ordinary pillows lose shape and support. Your upper back and neck muscles work all night long, leading to neck tension, shoulder stiffness, back pain, snoring, and restless sleep. But the Contour Pillow supports your body the way nature intended. Tense muscles relax, rest, rejuvenate. You awaken refreshed and ready to go. The secret is the therapeutic foam. The soft plush foam fingers individually adjust to your facial and neck features. The ultra-firm inner layers provide the gentle orthopedic support for the head and spine.
I suffered from stiff necks and headaches all my life. But with the Contour Pillow, I wake up feeling really refreshed.
I can't sleep without it. This pillow's a miracle. I even travel with it.
I've spent hundreds of dollars on mattresses and water beds, but only the Contour Pillow gave me the support and the relief that I needed. Best of all, my husband doesn't snore anymore.
The Contour Pillow is not available in any store, so call now for the special introductory price of only $19.95. Doctors sell therapeutic pillows for $60 or more. But now, the Contour Pillow can be ordered direct from the manufacturer for a special introductory price. And if you order within the next 10 minutes, we'll include the zippered washable cover, a $5 value absolutely free. If the Contour Pillow is not the most comfortable pillow you ever slept on, simply return it for a full refund, no questions asked. So don't toss and turn all night long. Pick up the phone and call now for the ultimate night's sleep. Order now.
For rush delivery of your Contour Pillow, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-248-0909. That's 1-800-248-0909. Or send $19.95 plus $5.95 shipping to Contour Pillow, P.O. Box 11624, Charlotte, North Carolina. Or call 1-800-248-0909.
The U.S. squad defeated El Salvador 7-0. That's the final score. Joe Max Moore had 4 goals, but it's kind of funny. I heard he and Ty Keogh talking off air. They're talking about the one that we all thought was in, but everyone said was not in, that near miss. We go downstairs to Ty Keogh and the man that scored 4 goals today, Joe Max Moore. Ty?
Tell us, Joe Max, was that ball in? Would have been your 5th goal?
Yeah, it was, but there's a little hole in the net over there. But
We maybe should get the camera over there and check it out, huh?
They need to fix the net over there. I can't complain. I had 4 good goals today. I mean, the balls that Kobe, Everett, Chris, they were all swinging in with great balls, and I'm just fortunate enough to be there, right place at the right time, so I'm happy.
So it's not bad running up top then, huh?
No, it's one of my first times to play there, but if that happens every game, I'd be rich and famous, but that ain't going to happen.
A little bit of glory there, some great finishing with the head as well. Your coach at UCLA, Ziggy Schmidt, he's probably worked on that with you a few times.
Yeah, I mean, this is that's definitely not my forte, scoring goals with my head, but since I knew I was going to be playing center forward, I stayed after a few practices and headed a few balls, and it paid off for me.
Definitely paid off. Hugo gave you a great first-time ball in the first goal.
He did. He did. He has great vision, and you never give up on him. I mean, you can't stop your run because you never know if the ball's going to come. He gets it there a lot of the time.
Some of the El Salvador fans here yelling that it's going to be different when you play Germany. That's December 18th, not that far off. Can we build from this?
Oh, definitely, yeah. The last 2 games we've scored 8 goals and now 7 goals. I mean, you can take that momentum right into the game against Germany. I know, you know, Germany is one of the best teams in the world, but it always helps to have momentum going into a game like that.
Does it feel especially good for you, being a Southern California boy, to be able to put on a performance like this right here?
Yeah, it does. My hometown, family, friends out here supporting me, and it's great to do it at home.
It's great to see it, and keep it going against Germany especially. Back up to you, JP. Thank you, Joe Max Moore.
Thank you.
Congratulations to Joe Max Moore and to an entire U.S. squad. We'll fill you in, tell you all about all of the heroes when we come back to L.A. It was a 7-0 romp for the U.S.
If you're balding or have thinning hair, wouldn't you rather look like this? Introducing Instant Hair Plus, the amazing hair thickener that gets rid of bald spots and thickens your hair in an instant.
What I like about Instant Hair Plus is it looks totally natural. Even up close, nobody can tell that I'm using it.
Instant Hair Plus is easy to use and is not a paint-on or cover-up. It clings to your hair and actually builds it up, thicker and thicker right before your eyes. Now, can you tell where the bald spot was?
I could not believe how full it actually made your hair look.
Instant Hair Plus comes in 5 natural colors, one just right for you, and it's only $19.95. Try it for 30 days risk-free. And if you don't agree that Instant Hair Plus is the next best thing to growing hair, just return it for a prompt refund.
To order, call 1-800-238-3100 or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to P.O. Box 4670, Omaha, Nebraska. Be sure to indicate your hair color or call now 1-800-238-3100.
You can easily stop smoking with a new non-medicated, nicotine-free, doctor-approved nicotine stop smoking patch for only $9.95. This revolutionary new behavior modification, non-prescription nicotine stop smoking patch program is so effective you can easily quit whether you smoke 1, 2, or even 3 packs a day. Roxana Sella smoked for 12 years.
And I quit in just 1 week.
Nicotine made it easy, and I didn't have to go to a doctor for it.
20 years, 20 cigarettes a day, and I quit in just 2 weeks with nicotine.
To order nicotine, call 1-800-442-8884.
I called, I quit, and it only cost $9.95.
Call 1-800-442-8884 now.
Every cigarette brings you 7 minutes closer to death. So don't wait. Make the call. Make call now.
Order nicotine now. Call 1-800-442-8884.
You know you have to quit. So make the call.
Welcome back, everyone, to Los Angeles with Ty Keogh. I'm John Paul Della Camera. 7-0, a blitz, a blowout. Call it what you like. Ty Keogh has some second-half highlights for us.
That's right. We'll show you the second-half goals. It's one of the few times, probably the only time we've never shown you all of them, because there were 7 this time. Joe Max Moore had gotten a ball from Hugo Perez down in deep. He cuts inside, fakes a shot, then sees Perez, who had streamed forward to fill the slot. And he gets it to Perez, who takes it first with his left and then goes across his body with the right inside that far corner. And that made it 5-0. Now, Janis Mihalik, who came on as a substitute, sends a beautiful ball to the near post. Joe Max Moore with a jumping header at the near post. He just drove it into the upper corner. No chance for Chavez, the El Salvador goalkeeper. And what a day it was for Joe Max Moore. 4 total goals. The 7th goal also coming from him. And it's a day that he'll...
This is our American Airlines Something Special in the Air play of the game, Ty.
Kobe Jones, as he did all day long, getting to the baseline, keeping his balance well, even though he's under intense pressure, gets it out in front. Here's Joe Max Moore on the ball, has time now to turn, look up, swerve, and slam the ball into the far side netting. A nice turn and a great finish.
That's our American Airlines Something Special in the Air play. American Airlines is the official airline of U.S. Soccer and the World Cup team. They congratulate Joe Max Moore for a play that is truly something special in the air. Now it's time for tonight's Snickers World Series of Soccer Most Valuable Players. If you'd like to take a guess at who they are, in all good consciousness, we couldn't pick anyone from El Salvador, not in a 7-0 game, especially with the stats being what they were. But from the United States squad, it was fairly easy, although there were so many heroes today. The player we settled on was the man that Ty Keogh just interviewed, and that was Joe Max Moore, who had a magnificent game, 4 goals and a pair of assists unofficially. He was magnificent. Dominic Kinnear had a pair of goals. Chris Henderson had a pair of assists. Hugo Perez had 1 goal. You could take your pick. In any event, Snickers making a charitable donation of $1,000 on behalf of Joe Max Moore to youth soccer in the United States. Not much else you can say about this game. It was a tremendous match for the United States national team. It comes on the heels of an 8-1 win over the Cayman Islands and then a 1-0 win over Jamaica. That is much better than the previous 2 results, a 1-0 loss to the Ukraine and then a 2-1 loss, that last one that you saw on our World Series of Soccer telecast. Final score, United States 7,